Barry got too cheap. This is BS. So
We're down there. See, they put us down there now.
That's okay.
I would, I'm just gonna go ahead for right there. Because your microphone is going up and down, so.
Good evening. Are we on the record?
You're on the record, Your Honor. Thanks for asking.
Sure, thank you. Before we begin tonight, good evening. I just would like to ask anyone who is not speaking to mute themselves. This is hard technology to communicate sometimes, and it makes it a little easier and prevents any feedback and a clearer recording for everyone. Again, good evening. Today is Tuesday, December 15th, 2020. It's approximately 7 p.m. My name is Christine Burke. I'm a public utility law judge with the Maryland Public Service Commission. We're here this evening for the first public comment in case number 9652, which is captioned in the matter of the application of PTR Holdco, LLC, a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct a 30-megawatt solar photovoltaic generating facility in Harford County, Maryland. We are conducting tonight's hearing via WebEx and live streaming on the Public Utility Law Judge YouTube channel. The proposed project would occupy approximately 140 acres of the 255-acre privately owned agricultural parcel owned by Fairview Farms, LLC, located at 2000 Cavalry Road in Bel Air, Maryland. The purpose of tonight's hearing is to give some background information about the project and provide the public an opportunity to comment and make me aware of any issues or concerns that they may have. I'd like to introduce the parties that are here tonight. Present are several representatives of the project, as well as Mr. David Bugelmans. He is the attorney who is representing the applicant, PTR Holdco, in this case. Sandra McLemore is present. She is an assistant attorney general representing the Department of Natural Resources Power Plant Research Program project. PPRP coordinates with 7 different state agencies to review and make recommendations in these types of projects. Also present tonight is Philip Sheehan. He's an attorney with the Office of People's Counsel. He represents the interests of all residential ratepayers in the state of Maryland. Also, we have Philip Sheehan. He is an attorney. Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Greger and Kenneth Albert are also present on behalf of the commission staff. Commission staff reviews the impact of the project on the stability and reliability of the distribution grid. I've received several emails from individuals wishing to comment tonight, and I see many of them here. But before hearing from individuals, I would first ask that the applicant have an opportunity to provide a brief overview of the project, and then we can proceed with comments. Mr. Bugelman, could you please introduce the project?
Thank you, Your Honor, and thanks to everyone joining on WebEx and YouTube tonight. My name is David Bugelmans. I'm the attorney for the applicant in this case, PTR Holdco, LLC. Its application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity from the Public Service Commission. I have with me tonight virtually Barry Scallucci from Protect Energy Solutions, the developer of the project, who will give a brief overview of his company and the solar facility. Again, thank you for attending tonight, and we look forward to hearing your comments, and I'll hand the virtual microphone over to Barry.
Thank you, David, and good evening, everybody. My name is Barry Scallucci. I am a member of both PTR Holdco, who is a development entity, and Protect Energy Solutions, who's our parent company. I'm a licensed professional engineer in several states, predominantly up and down the East Coast. And what I'd like to do tonight is to give a brief overview first of Protect and PTR Holdco. I think that would be useful for everyone to get a sense of what we're about and who we are. And then I'll go into the project and give a high-level overview. What I do have a site plan, Judge, that if you can give me the authority, I'll share it with the screen.
Yes, I think I did.
Okay, open. Okay, I'm having problems. Preferences. Let me try. All right. Well, we'll get to the project. I can try that again. If not, I have a backup plan. All right.
I need you presenter, so hoping that would work. I tested it earlier today.
Reactions, because the share is still blocked out where I have that.
Okay, let me try something else.
Okay. All right. In any event, let me start, because I know we have a lot of people who want to speak tonight. let me start just giving you a brief overview of our company. The applicant PTR Holdco, as I indicated, we're the development arm of Protec Energy Solutions. Protec is an engineering, procurement, and construction company of solar energy systems. We've been in business since 2009, which in the solar industry is forever. The industry is quite new, and the fact that we have 11 years in the market is something, frankly, to be proud of. We have developed over 250 megawatts of projects and constructed over a half a gigawatt of projects up and down the East Coast, predominantly from Maine all the way down to Georgia. And that includes several installations in Maryland, too. We have several offices. Our headquarters is in Morristown, New Jersey, which is right outside Philadelphia. And we have functioning offices in Worcester, Massachusetts, and in Florida as well. Some of the major differences with Protec is that in many instances, the project developer, the entity who builds the solar system, and then the entity who operates and maintains it, they're all different. And we're proud to say that we are the same. We develop the project, we construct a project, and then we operate and maintain the project. And we do all these activities in-house. Why is this distinction important? We stay with the project from the beginning to the end, and the end could be 20 to 25 years out. Obviously, we've not been in business that long, but we have projects that have been operational for 11 years, and we've been involved with them and have stood behind them throughout that entire time frame. We also create long-term relationships with all the parties, and that's very important. The people that you see, myself and other people from Protec, we're always accessible, and we stay with the project. And that's again an important distinction. That if there is an issue, people know who to call, and it just makes things easier. And it's really a differentiator. There aren't many companies like us that complete all facets of the project. With that, I do want to go into the project, and I'm still having some trouble. Let me see if
I changed one of the roles for participants. If you try it again.
All right. Okay. Open system preferences. Yeah. No. I'm not. Participants chat.
Hold on. I just changed it back. Let's see.
Yeah. For some reason, the share tab in the bottom is still blacked out or grayed out. Back to a video says which one? Okay, I can continue it. It's really not that important. All right, so what I wanted to know is I want to focus on the project and just again to give a high level overview. As was stated before, the project, the property is approximately 250 acres in size, and the address of the property is 2000 Calvary Road in Bel Air, Maryland. The property is bordered by Calvary Road and Shucks Road. To the rear of the property, it's all heavily wooded. One of the first things that we always look at when we're sourcing a project is the interconnection. The interconnection is key to the success and the development of the project. In this case, Baltimore Gas and Electric operates two 33 kV circuits right along Calvary Road, directly across from the project site. And frankly, that's unheard of. To have an interconnection point directly across, literally 100 feet away, is a tremendous benefit to the project. We've been working with both Baltimore Gas and Electric and PJM, which is Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Maryland Interconnection. They're the grid operator for right now, I'd say 2+ years, to go through a series of high-level studies to ensure that the grid can accept the power that's going to be generated from the property. This project is going to be a merchant facility. The power generated is going to go into the grid and then be transmitted through the grid infrastructure. We have 2 queue numbers assigned to this project because there's 2 points of interconnection. There are 2 circuits, as I've mentioned before. The queue numbers are AF1299 and AF1300. Each queue number and each circuit can handle 15 megawatts. And that's how we get the project size to be 30 megawatts. The results of the studies that have been performed indicate that the power that we generate can be accepted by the infrastructure, and in fact can be accepted with no substantial upgrades required. The analogy I could give is that we're going to generate the power on the site and in effect run an extension cord, as an analogy, directly to the existing infrastructure and plug right in. Baltimore Gas and Electric has issued an approval for both of our projects. They've concluded, along with PJM, that their system can handle the power that we're going to generate. It will not tax the system, it will not disturb the system, and as I said, there are no substantial upgrades required. We received the approval from Baltimore Gas and Electric, and they're currently developing an interconnection agreement for us. As part of that process, they're going to be doing their in-house engineering work for our connection. The next item that I just want to briefly go into is some of the designs and some of the details of the solar system that we intend to construct, and also what our general approach is for the construction of the system. The solar panels are going to be placed on approximately 140 acres of the site. The panels themselves are going to be what's called bifacial solar modules. These are fairly recent. It's a fairly recent innovation where the panels not only absorb the sunlight from the top, but also as the sunlight reflects off the ground, there are collectors behind the panels that collect the power there as well. These panels actually increase the production of the system by 5 or 6%. The modules that we use are going to be what are called tier 1 or from tier 1 manufacturers. Those are the highest quality manufacturers of the panels. They're fully recognized and financeable. The system will be a ground-mounted system. What that means is that there'll be posts driven into the ground, and the panels will be affixed to members that span the posts. We're also going to be using what are called single-axis trackers. What that means is that the panels are actually going to rotate in one direction to follow the path of the sun. And again, that's done to increase the capacity of, or the efficiency of the system and the amount of power that is produced. The power that we generate from the modules themselves is in DC direct current. It is converted to AC via inverters that are strategically placed within the system, or as we call it, the array. The way you have to look at it is that the system is broken up into almost building blocks with an inverter controlling or converting the power within a section of the array, and it's just repeated multiple times. The AC power is then transmitted from switchgear that's on our site directly to the Baltimore Gas and Electric infrastructure. The lines will run underground. They'll run underneath Calvary Road and connect to the existing poles and infrastructure. Now, our overall approach when we develop a project like this, whether it's this one or frankly any project that we develop, is that we use a strategy that we call avoidance. And what I mean by that is properties have sensitive environmental features, whether it's wetlands, streams, or other areas. There are ways that you can encroach into those areas. Permits are required. It's not something that we want to do. So the approach that we take is that we avoid them entirely. We don't just avoid, say, a wetland area, we avoid the buffer that's associated with that as well. And we're using that here. Everywhere that, whether there's a stream or a wetland that's been identified on the property, the appropriate buffer's been shown on the site plan, and the panels and any disturbance, we are outside of that area. We think that's the responsible thing to do. And frankly, it makes our job a little easier as well. The other thing is that there are existing structures on the property. Not one structure is going to be demolished. They're going to remain as is. We're going to be using the existing entranceway to the property off of Calvary Road. There's a wetlands crossing that we are going to utilize. We are not expanding it. We're not enhancing it. It's not necessary. So again, we use what's given to us, and we don't look to disturb any of these features. There are some forested areas on the property. Those forested areas are going to remain as is. We are not going to be taking down trees or doing or removing any forested areas. We're also going to be employing state-of-the-art stormwater management policies that those controls will be incorporated into our project design, and they will also be protective of these sensitive environmental features. We're very much aware of them, in tune with them, and we will not disturb them. What we're also doing is along Shucks Road and Calvary Road, we're proposing to install an earthen berm and a vegetative buffer as screening. We are also placing the panels off the roadway at the maximum distance that's in the current county code. So we're taking what the maximum distance, the maximum buffer or setback, and that's what we're applying to the project. The last thing that I think is important is that there are certain ways that you can vegetate the ground once the panels are installed. Typically, you use a low-growth grass that's indigenous to the area, and this is underneath where the panels are. It's going to be a grass cover. What we have committed to doing is to utilize a pollinator approach. The pollinator approach, again, it's a low-growth seed mixture, but it's a specialized seed mixture that is there to attract whether it's bee habitat or other insect habitats, so that it's, again, a naturally occurring environment. The system that we're installing does not stay forever. And one of the other things that we're very much in tune to is what's called project decommissioning. Solar, as I said, solar has a useful life, whether it's 25 or 30 or 35 years, there is a finite life. And that's one of the unique factors of a solar development. If you were to install houses or a commercial development on the property, it's there forever. That's not the case with solar. And in fact, once the system has gone through its useful life, all the equipment is going to be removed, whether it's the panels, the posts, underground wire, everything above and below ground will be removed, and the property will be returned to its former self. The project decommissioning, we'll develop a cost estimate, we will develop a plan, and it will be reviewed and approved by the Public Service Commission prior to the start of construction. Additionally, we will be posting a bond, letter of credit, or some other financial surety to ensure that the system can be removed. There have been stories, not thankfully by our company, of some times when companies are no longer around and the system remains mothballed. That's not our approach. There will be financial insurance posted to make sure that that doesn't happen. It will ensure that should the owner down the road default, that there'll be a financial source available for the project to be removed and the site to be returned to its pre-solar state. When the solar components are removed and the site is restored, if it's desired by the property ownership, the property could very well and easily be returned to agricultural use. And again, that's one of the unique factors or unique elements of a solar development. It's not forever. So with that, I'd love to hear questions or comments from the public. And again, I thank you very much for the opportunity to give you a brief overview of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Scallucci. I did receive several emails, and I have from individuals that wanted to comment tonight. And I'd like to provide everyone the opportunity to speak. So the only thing I would ask is that you limit your comments to no longer than 10 minutes. I'll give a 1-minute warning to wrap up and provide final comments, just to let you know once you start, if you're getting close to that 10-minute mark. When I call your name, please unmute yourself, state and spell your name for the record, so the court reporter can get a clear record. The first person that I had tonight was William Halgus. Is Mr. Halgus here? No? If you're here, Mr. Halgus, could you unmute yourself? No? I don't see Mr. Halgus. Okay. Then I can move on. Mr. Killian, Brad Killian.
Yes, thank you. I am here. My name is, good evening.
Good
My
evening.
name is Brad Killian, Killian, and I am the director of the Department of Planning and Zoning in Harford County, Maryland. And I did have 3 points that I wanted to make regarding the proposed power generation project at Fairview Farm. And I think based on the applicant's initial comments, I have a couple others that I would add at the end. The current zoning and permitted uses. Harford County zoning classifications were established to broadly allow many different uses within each zoning district. Harford County has just 16 zoning classifications, whereas other counties may have 30 or more. This provides a certain lack of specificity, with the trade-off being greater flexibility for property owners and developers. Over time, the pattern of development that have resulted from that structure in Harford County is a generous allowance of uses within relatively rigid growth area. That defined growth area is our development envelope, and I'll speak to that in just a moment. This established pattern of growth is important to note, since deviating from it can upend the balance and erode precedents that have existed for over 40 years. Current zoning regulations permit power generation plants, including solar, on properties within the general industrial zoning districts. Though recent court determinations have effectively voided the county's authority to regulate utility scale solar power generation facilities, it remains our position that the use is incompatible with the county's comprehensive plan, the specific zoning of the project property, and our long-term planning goals, which are predicated on the continuation of land use patterns established over the past 4 decades. The impact on the local landscape. Harford County has been committed to directing growth since establishing the development envelope in 1977, the boundaries of which have remained largely the same for over 40 years. The development envelope was established to direct growth along 2 primary corridors and help preserve the county's rural landscape. The practice has been an inarguable success for the past several decades. More than 90% of the county's growth, as measured by the number of residential units constructed, has occurred within that development envelope. This dedication to directing development, coupled with a robust agricultural preservation program, has allowed the county to permanently preserve over 55,000 acres of agricultural land. The Cresswell Cavalry area of Harford County, within which Fairview Farm is located, happens to be some of the more productive farmland in the county and is home to numerous historic resources as well. The Fairview Farm location is virtually surrounded by farms with permanent preservation easements of varying types, historic, environmental, and other. The area, unsurprisingly, has been the target of development pressures for several decades. But in each of the last several planning cycles, during which the county's comprehensive plan is reviewed and updated, the county's residents and their elected leaders have rejected calls to expand the development envelope into the Cresswell area, and have reaffirmed the desire to preserve the agricultural, scenic, cultural, and historic resources that define Harford County. Moving forward, we recognize that this project may end up being approved. If so, it is perhaps unavoidable that the state's energy and emission goals should eventually conflict with local land use goals. There is an increasing desire to move toward solar power generation to offset negative environmental impacts of energy production using fossil fuels. We share that desire and believe it is good not just for the state of Maryland generally, but also for the people who live, work, and play here in Harford County. We will be introducing legislation soon that will allow for community solar systems to be developed within the development envelope. Community solar systems have some advantages over large-scale utility projects and provide benefits, both economic and environmental, more directly to the community while contributing to increased regional grid resilience. Such systems can be installed on smaller parcels of land. They frequently utilize otherwise unusable properties, such as former landfill sites and brownfields. Because they do not cover hundreds of acres of land, community solar systems can be stealthily integrated into the community. And the smaller size of community solar reduces their impact on the visual landscape as well as on wildlife populations. That proposed legislation that we will be introducing here in Harford County will include requirements that will ensure the community can enjoy the benefits of solar while protecting against some of the detractors. The requirements, such as increased setbacks and buffering and limitations on other physical aspects of the development, should be extended to all solar projects being considered in Harford County. I will make sure that I include those specifications in my written comments and ask that those do be incorporated into any, as a condition of any approval that the applicant may receive in the future. 2 points that I did want to add based on the applicant's comments. It had occurred to me that the justification of interconnectivity is often analyzed and may be perhaps overweighted in terms of making a decision with respect to where to locate solar. The state's Department of Energy had a tool that allowed counties and local jurisdictions to analyze where appropriate siting for solar could be based on the existing power grid infrastructure. When we looked at that, we downloaded those layers and performed our own analysis. They made a recommendation that a solar facility should be within 4 miles of an existing interconnection. And perhaps unsurprising, when we took out APG in the base, it was over 80% of our county was within 4 miles of that interconnection. So virtually anywhere within the county would be acceptable by that standard. And that certainly seems perhaps scary to a lot of people in the county. The final point is with respect to decommissioning. That too is often used as a justification, but I would like to note too that by the applicant's own admission, his company has not actually reached that time horizon for any of their installations. In this particular location for the Fairview farm, as I stated, the pressure to develop the property in the past makes it fairly unrealistic to think that 20 or 25 years from now it would revert to farmland. More likely scenario is that once utilized in any way, once developed, it would be redeveloped, and perhaps that would be the best case scenario, is to redevelop again with newer solar down the line. But to speak in glowing terms of it reverting to farm use or agricultural use or a more natural state or an original state is perhaps at best unrealistic and should not be necessarily factor into the decision. So I thank you all for your time, and I will be forwarding written comments along with some of the aforementioned specifications that I would like to hopefully have included in a future approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Killian. I have next Mr. Otto. You have to unmute yourself. Yes. Good evening.
Okay. My name's Herbert Otto, OTTO. I'm here with my wife, Karen. We are residents of Shucks Road. This is the first meeting. I know there's been many over the years that I have attended.
You're going to have to speak up. I'm the court reporter. I'm not really picking you up well. Get closer to the computer. Thank you very much.
How's that? Is that any better?
Much. Thank you.
My last name is Otto, OTTO. I'm here with my wife, Karen. We are residents on Shucks Road. The address is 1633 Shucks Road. I took the tape measure out today and did some measuring, and we are actually 82 feet away from the farm that we're talking about. And I'm not talking about to my property line. I'm talking about to my front door. If you add the other 50 feet setback, I will be 132 feet away from the first solar panel or a sea of glass that is proposed to being put in on the farm. 132 feet, I feel is pretty close, and I don't believe that anybody listening on this on this call that if they were in my shoes or my wife's shoes, would want to be 132 feet away from a 140-acre solar farm or solar project. Excuse me, it shouldn't be called a farm, it is a project. We have been out here in Harford County for a little over 40 years. We bought the farmhouse. It was originally, I don't know how old it is. I do know that the original structure was a bedroom, a kitchen, and a living room with an outhouse with a dirt basement. Our basement was made concrete in the 1940s, mid 1940s. And when we purchased the property from Dave and Pat Barber, thankfully there was an outhouse. Not an outhouse. Outhouse was gone, and the bathroom and some additions had been made. This original farmhouse was a 30-acre farm. The couple we bought it from, Dave and Pat Barber, they built a home behind us and since have moved out. That's 1635. And they also sold a 1-acre lot where a house is next to us right now.
Mr. Otto, I'm sorry. You keep leaning back and you fade out. You have to get close to the microphone or I lose you and I don't even get your recording.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all new to everybody. Thank you very much.
It's certainly new to me. I'm in my 60s, so I'm not used to this kind of stuff. I'm used to face-to-face meetings, so I apologize for that.
I'm not picking you up, Your Honor. I'm here having trouble.
Yeah, I can't hear too well either. Can you kind of go in and out a little bit?
I've got it turned up 98%. That's as far as I can. Is that any better?
Much better.
Oh, that's much better.
All right. I don't know how much you've got, but I'll just briefly. Believe me, I won't take 10 minutes, or we will not take 10 minutes. So we'll be out of here pretty soon. But
I got everything that you said so far, but just speak up. That's all I'm asking.
All right, I sure will. The property since a 1-acre lot was sold next to us, and I have over 2 acres of land, I was considering putting a house in for one of my children and building a home. And when I contacted Harford County zoning to find out if that could be done, of course, I was told no. And the reason being is that the property, the 30 acres, have been developed for housing to its max. And the reason for zoning of property agriculture is to preserve our countryside and open space for wildlife and the environment. And I would hope that same rules and regulations on my side of Shucks Road would be the same for the other side of Shucks Road. If you take out the wetlands, as you already have done for your development, that leaves about 140 acres, which again, I know that over the years, the fielders have had perk tests done. I've seen the mounds of dirt and the equipment over there trying to do perk tests. And I would imagine if they had passed the perk test, we wouldn't be having this meeting right now. And if 14 homes are put over there on 10-acre lots, that's fair. That's the way it should be. That's what I can do. That's what they should be able to do. To turn it into a solar farm or project is something that I really would hate to see done out there for being there over 40 years. And I can't believe that it would not have an effect with us being that close and the other residents on Shucks Road, that would not have a huge effect on our property values. The other thing I wanted to bring up is the wildlife. That's anybody that's been around there for years knows that particular those fields, it's like being a BWI, with the landing of geese. And I'm not exaggerating when I say thousands of wildlife and geese use that for their annual migration, and not to the herds of deer and fox, coyotes I've seen recently. The wildlife that I have to believe would be greatly affected by putting 140 acres of solar panels in there. And I would hope that somebody would be taking that into consideration. I also made a phone call to the Harford County landfill yesterday, and I told them I had a solar panel that I'd like to dispose of. And I asked them if I could bring it there, and they said no. They said, no, we can't accept that. It's not recyclable. The metal and the materials and the gases and whatever hazardous material that is in there cannot be recycled, and we can't use it. And I asked, well, where can I take it? And they had no answer for me. So if the panels are too hazardous and unusual for the Harford County landfill to take them, and they told me to take it somewhere else, and they couldn't tell me where, why would I want those panels 132 feet away from my front door? as the previous gentleman spoke, there is a lot of land in Harford County that is not affecting residents like myself and others on Shucks Road. Aberdeen Proving Ground, for one, is already owned by the federal government, and anybody that is driven on the Aberdeen Proving Ground or Edgewood Arsenal, you can get lost. There's so much open land and so much open space. Why, after this particular project has been turned down, I believe 4 times, that other sites have not been looked at to achieve this, I'm at a loss. Why? Other than the fact that it's convenient for BG&E because it's 100 feet right across the other, but it's not convenient for us. I guess the only other thing I'd like to say is I just cannot believe that if anybody that's on here that is for this particular project, that if they were in our shoes or the shoes of the other people, and I don't think anybody's any closer than me, 132 feet to the solar panels, I don't think any of you would want this to be happening to you. But it always seems like as long as it's not in my backyard and it's in your backyard, yeah, we're going to go ahead with it, or we're going to try to keep pushing it through. But I think after 4 times being turned down, and hopefully it'll be turned down again. And I hope the fielders, I know they want to sell the farm, and I hope they do. I hope they protest. I've known the fielders for years. We've been there for 41 years. I know Jim Fielder pretty well from past dealings, the Hartford Business Ledger and the Aegis. They're a great family. And open space, I was the president of the Churchville Rec Council. I've got 25 years of volunteer service in Hartford County, and the open space at Cedar Lane, the expansion of the Churchville Rec Council, and the open space project at the top of Shucks Road. Hartford County is always looking for open space. I don't know if it doesn't protest, maybe down the road or maybe right now. I know Hartford County always has money to preserve our agriculture and our countryside. It's always there. I don't know why that hasn't been pursued. Maybe they can't buy 250 acres, but maybe they could buy some of it. But I hope there's another solution other than this solar project that you're trying to put in here. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. I have a Amy O'Neill. Is there an Amy O'Neill? I think I see you.
Hello.
Hi, good evening, Ms. O'Neill.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Amy O'Neill, AIMEEO''N''EILL. Is my volume satisfactory? Thank you.
You're perfect.
Thank you. I am speaking in opposition to this project. I was pleased to listen to Mr. Killian's explanation of Harford County's position with respect to this application. And I will not repeat my detailed comments, which were actually covered in his report, but I will make the points that I think are pertinent. And one of the things that does concern me about this process is that the Public Service Commission has the opportunity and the authority to make a decision that is in direct opposition to the land use planning of the Harford County government. And while I have heard that there are many reasons why this project is convenient for Baltimore Gas and Electric Company, I haven't actually heard if there is an actual need for the project in terms of serving the community's electric service. I don't think anybody's lights are going to go out if we don't have this solar array on this property. My greatest objection to this project is a general land use comment, and that is the conversion of agricultural land, prime agricultural land, active agricultural land for a public utility project. And the conversion of this farmland to a solar array, it is inconsistent with the land use planning that we've practiced in Harford County, that the state of Maryland has practiced. The state of Maryland is among the top states within the Union for Agricultural Land Preservation. So why would we dedicate 140 acres of agricultural land to a solar array when we have acres and acres and acres of land? As Mr. Otto pointed out, we have the Aberdeen Proving Ground, we have industrial land up and down the Route 4095 corridor. Within 2 miles of this, we have the Harford Community College and the Campus Hills Shopping Center. To me, if the future of energy production in the state of Maryland and in across the globe is to be the goal, then there should be a symbiotic, a cooperative, a relationship. Let's put these panels on top of industrial buildings. Let's put these panels in industrial land or brownfields. Let's use land that's already been converted from agricultural production, and let's cooperatively use that land. Let's cover parking lots. There are any of a variety of innovative and preferred locations of solar arrays other than this convenient and financially beneficial project for BGE and the property owner. I also do have a comment about the return to ag use, and Mr. Otto addressed it, Mr. Killian addressed it, and I haven't heard that there is any actual experience with conversion or reversion to ag use, and would be interested to hear more about that. But more importantly, I do recommend that this project be denied. I recommend that the Public Service Committee, the Public Service Commission, set their sights on solar arrays in appropriate land, which would be repurposing brownfields, industrial land, parking lots, anything except agricultural land. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. Mr. Albadress, Adrian Albadress. No, I don't see anyone. No? Okay. I did not get any other specific requests asking to make comment. Is there anybody else here tonight that would like the opportunity? Yes, ma'am. Yep, unmute yourself.
Afternoon on
Okay.
Monday. My name is Karen Otto. I live at 1633 Shucks Road. So our property is directly.
Karen, please, you're
just
going to have to get close to
a little bit. Yeah,
you have to get close to the computer.
sorry.
That's okay. I apologize. Anyway, our property is directly across from this proposed project, which was denied by the Zoning Commission in 2017 when it was first proposed. It was, that denial was upheld twice in 2018. And then when our county council had to act as an appeals, it was also agreed that our zoning people made the correct decision that agricultural can be used for a lot of different things, but that a solar project that generates electricity that is sold and not used on the property is not the use for agricultural in Harford County. I also, it's my understanding that up until July of 2019, the Public Service Commission did not retain the final decision as to where solar facilities would be placed. It's my understanding that it was in Washington County that a decision was made that it should be under the auspices of the Public Service Commission and taken out of the hands of local zoning boards. It's been a terrible way, I think, of silencing people whose lives it's going to affect. Harford County and Washington County are not the only counties that are going to have to deal with this, especially since the plan for Maryland is to go renewable energy by like 2040. So I think the state needs to reevaluate how they're going to accomplish this feat and not look for people. And I know the state wasn't looking for Fairview Farms, that Fairview Farms is interested in doing this. But I just feel the same as many other people, that there are a lot of properties that are already state-owned that could perhaps better accommodate this type of energy generating facility, and that way the state would be making money off of these companies for the lease, if that's the way we're going to go. So I just feel like I'm against this particular project, more because of the process that has been used to try to get it approved when it's been denied 4 times. And thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, I don't have anyone else particularly. I do see a lot of people on the call. If there's someone else who would like to speak, you may unmute yourself and identify yourself. Going once. Don't see anyone else. Anybody want to say anything else that already spoke? You have an opportunity to do so.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. That's okay. Can't hear you though. You have to unmute yourself.
You're muted. Please unmute.
I'm sorry. I would just like to say that we did not know about this particular hearing until Wednesday evening of last week. So a lot of people might want to say something. I had been at several of the zoning meetings, and there were a lot of residents that wanted to make comments, but with only 3 or 4 business days to get some information together and check things out, it's a little difficult to, respond or give an opinion. So the timeliness of it for us was very short. I'm not sure if that was true for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? I'm not seeing anyone. I would remind everyone that you can still enter written comments to the Public Service Commission via first-class mail or electronically through the Commission's website. It just has to be referenced. I'm going to give you the website for the Public Service Commission is www. One moment, please. PSC.state.md.us. And the case number is 9652. That has to be referenced when you submit written comments. You may also view written comments that have already been submitted on the Commission's website. If you scroll halfway down the page, there's a link to the tools section. You click on that, and that'll take you to another page where you can select from a drop-down menu the case number and hit search, and it'll list all of the other comments that have been made. Also, there will be a second public comment hearing in this case. That hearing is currently scheduled for April 20th of 2021. There will be a determination made later whether that hearing will be a virtual hearing or an in-person hearing, depending on how things go going into 2021. Again, I thank everybody for their participation this evening. If there's no one else that wishes to speak, again, I'd say there will be another public hearing and an opportunity to comment. With that, I will bid everyone good night. Thank you very much for participating.
Thank you.
Thank
We're
you.
off the record, Gianna.
Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome.